Human traffickers keep telling us like you are less valuable than even pig. And North Koreans going into the sex slavery, and even their organs get harvested. This is modern day slavery. China is enabling this dictatorship. That is crime against humanity. So yeah, it was 2007, and that we just couldn't find more food anymore. That was like the last strike, and it wasn't like I was planning the grand escape. I never even seen the map of the world, right? We don't have the internet in North Korea. You don't like go up, look up like what the outside world look like. I was just barely at nighttime looking at China and seeing its lights coming from China. And then I thought maybe if I go where the lights were, I would find some food to eat. And that's why we escaped. So at 13, I crossed this frozen river with my mom. And then, of course, the first thing I see is my mom being raped. And then after they were raping my mom and said, if you guys want to stay in China, you have to be sold as sex slaves. So they sold my mom for less than $100, around $65. And then they sold me over $20 because I was virgin, and somehow that's very valuable in China. And then when I was being sold to another human trafficker, I wanted to kill myself. Like I was separate from everybody that I knew. I was in China. I was even more oppressed than being in North Korea. And when I was trying to kill myself, this trafficker who bought me told me that if I become his mistress, he would save my family for me. So that was a deal that he was offered. So I thought, okay, if I sacrifice myself, I can rescue my family. So I did become his mistress at 13. And then he brought my father to me. And of course, he was a heartless man, like raping 13 years old. Now I'm still small, but I was even skinnier, a tiny, tiny thing. And he still did that. But then he also still saved my parents for me. That's why I couldn't hate. Right at this point, there are about 300,000 North Koreans are hiding in China. Most of them are women, and all of them being trafficked, literally. Like 99% of them are. And because of the China's one-child policy, they were aborting a lot of girls. And then, especially in the rural areas right now in China, up to 30 million young men cannot find wives. North Koreans are not recognized by the Chinese government as refugees. So they call us fugitives. So they try to catch us and then send us back to North Korea. We are defectors. When you escape the regime, that means you are defying the party's ideology, right? So that's when you send back to North Korea, you get severely punished or executed. And then these human traffickers know that the last thing we will do is going to police and ask for help in China, because they are the ones who can catch us and send us back. And that's why human traffickers keep telling us like, I can kill you at this very moment. You are less valuable than even pig. And North Koreans going into, of course, like the sex slavery, prostitution, chat rooms, gang, and even some of them, even like their organs get harvested. And North Korea, this is hundreds, thousands of them right now still trapped in China. And this is happening in this 21st century. This is modern day slavery is happening. And this is shocking that how nobody talks about this. I heard the freedom when I was in China. This defector lady told me, let's go to South Korea. There, we're gonna be free. And then I was like, what is free, right? And then she was like, oh yeah, we can wear jeans there. And then you can watch South Korean K-dramas. Because I love the K-dramas. And then it's like, nobody will gonna arrest you for that. Okay, why don't you just risk our life for that, right? I mean, even that sounded to me, it was like unbelievable freedom. Like how anybody have freedom to wear jeans. And that's what I thought of freedom back then at 15. While I was in China, we knew this other Northern defector woman. She met the missionaries and they said, if we come to their shelter and study Bible and become Christian. And somehow if we prove our faith to them that we are Christians, they were going to help us to go to South Korea. And once somehow we proved our faith to them, that's when they told us, okay, if you know escape from China, you have to walk across the frozen Gobi Desert and using a compass in your hands, because it's like the chance of making in the desert is so low, they cannot even come with us, right? How do you go back? And that's why they were just letting us go in the desert with a compass and told us to go the west and north between those directions. And eventually I followed the northern star, and I mean literally just in the middle of the desert in the northern star praying, and that leads to, hopefully that leads to freedom. And it did. It really did. North Koreans are so strong, right? They be trafficked, they go through so unbelievable things and willing to be free and go to South Korea and be free. And they are the highest group in South Korea to commit suicide. So North Korean regime wouldn't execute you if you're not trying to leave China and then just find food and go back to North Korea. They would like send you to prison camp. But if they do find out that you're trying to escape to South Korea, that's where you get executed or sent to lifetime concentration camp. That's when you risk your life for freedom. And I think that's why when we go to South Korea, we got somehow different expectation. That we think South Korea is gonna be like our people, right? Like they're not Chinese, like speaking same Korean. So going there, being discriminated by your own people, then you started thinking about the people that you lost in the journey, the people you left behind. And I think that's why life is a lot harder in South Korea. I mean, not harder, but it still feels such a struggle adjusting to South Korea in the beginning. Then everything was hidden from me, and especially the parts about Chinese connection to sponsoring dictatorship in North Korea is not known to the most of people. And I was studying more about North Korea, like I picked up every academic paper, the CIA journalist, like the analyst writing the book later. I was realizing, I mean, without China, North Korea cannot function in one day without them. Like even talking about the missile test, North Korea doesn't have oil. So how do you test nukes if you don't get any oil from them? You don't. So even no matter what, even last year during the COVID, China was using this illegal ship and giving the oil to Kim Jong-un to keep testing the nukes. So that is a thing, like without China, Kim Jong-un can never exist. And the reason only that North Korean regime lasting this long, almost 80 years at this point, is because of CCP. And this is a thing like people don't know, like who is actually responsible for this tragedy? It's China. And of course, like Kim Jong-un is responsible partially, but I think when it comes to accountability, China is way, way bigger. They are enabling this dictatorship. And then also, of course, they are catching us and sending us back to North Korea, right? That's against their Geneva Convention by the international law. That is crime against humanity.